Doritos is the king in the tortilla chips game, and with sales over $2 billion in the US alone, it is the market leader by huge margins. Contrary to the bold and wild presence that Doritos have today, their origins are rather humble and take us unexpectedly to the first ever Disneyland. The first ever Disneyland opened on the 17th of July 1955 in Anaheim, California. It was a Sunday that reached 100 degrees, and the park was open not to the public but to 11,000 guests that were members of the Disney studio, press, construction workers, and sponsors. Someone had even forged the tickets, and the day planned for 11,000 saw over 28,000 visitors. The park on its opening day was anything but ready. Women's heels sunk into the freshly laid asphalt, paint at many places was still wet from its last coat, rides were breaking down, and needless to say, there wasn't enough food or drinks for the unexpectedly large crowd. As for the rest of America, over 90 million watched the opening day on TV, as gates for the public were to open the next day. Being Walt Disney's dream project, Disneyland was built completely on his supervision. He was so involved that even the smallest of businesses and restaurants required his approval to open their shops in Disneyland. And it was here where fate met destiny. The Frito-Lay company managed to get Walt Disney's permission to open a Mexican-themed restaurant called Casa de Fritos with the main focus to promote Frito-Lay products. The restaurant incorporated Fritos into their dishes and even handed out free samples of their products. The infamous tortillas that are commonly found in Mexican cuisine were not made in-house at Casa de Fritos. The restaurant instead contracted a company named Alex Foods to make it for them. One day, after having supplied the restaurant with tortillas, the Alex Foods sales guy found stale tortillas thrown in the restaurant's trash can. He advised the chef to fry the tortillas and serve them as chips instead of throwing them away, and that's exactly what the chef did. The customers seemed to love it, and it became a bestseller at Casa de Fritos. The Frito-Lay company, however, was completely unaware of the new dish being served at their restaurant. The company's vice president, Archibald West, paid a visit to the restaurant nearly a year after the invention and was fascinated at the sight of customers binging on these golden chips. He fell in love with the product's convenience and crunch and knew that this was no ordinary restaurant dish but rather a commercially scalable winner. So Frito-Lay in 1964 commissioned Alex Foods to manufacture the chips on their behalf, and the chips were a huge success from day one. The chips were named Doritos, which some believe is from the combination of Mexican and Spanish words Doradito, meaning golden brown, but according to Mr. West, it is the Spanish for little bits of gold. The success of Doritos demanded manufacturing of larger volumes, so Frito-Lay moved production from Alex Foods to its own manufacturing unit in Oklahoma. Initially, Americans found Doritos to be plain, so in 1968, Frito-Lay came out with their first ever new flavor called Taco. The nacho cheese flavor, or what we call the original flavor today, made its debut 6 years later in 1974, and ever since, we've witnessed some really cool and weird flavors. As of 1993, Doritos was driving nearly a third of all Frito-Lay sales, and even today, amidst all the tortilla chips competition, Doritos continues to take the top spot. Casa de Fritos shut down in 1982 and reopened the same year as Casa Mexicana, which then permanently shut down in 2001, and today the restaurant Rancho del Zocalo stands in its place. As for good old Mr. West, he passed away in 2011 at the age of 97 and had Doritos tossed in his grave in accordance to his wishes.